giant stick.
Yeah.
So
It kind of reminded me of like the big Vaseline or the
yeah,
Aquaphor. I love that.
but this is just it
Jones
can go
Russell.
anywhere. Jones Road is Bobby Brown's new clean makeup line, and it's great.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
You girlies, you stick with me for some personal care products.
Influence. Oh my gosh. I was at Sephora yesterday and I was like, I want everything here.
I've been a girly girl my whole life when it comes to products, and I am a product whore, so I will try all the things.
Sponsor
I
us,
am-
Jones Road, please.
Oh my God, please, Bobby, call us.
That would be
That
awesome.
would be unbelievable, actually.
It
We'll
would.
keep
but
promoting the product.
Believable.
Okay? Just keep showing them.
100%.
Welcome to the first episode of Get Mom Ready. I'm Holly Tate, and I am so excited. Like, literally cannot express how excited I am that you are here, you are listening, you are watching. That tells me that you're committed to being the best version of yourself, from a mom to a partner to a friend to a daughter to a coworker, whatever that looks like for you. So thanks for joining us at Get Mom Ready. Today, I'm going to be sharing my story. We get real vulnerable, friends, so buckle up. And I'm so excited, too, for you to get to know Anna and Hannah and Meredith, my three friends who I still am amazed that they have said yes to committing to Get Mom Ready along with me. But I want to invite you to go to getmomready.com. So every week, it's totally free for you to hear all of our wonderful podcasts. You can also watch it on YouTube or wherever you consume your podcasts. But over on getmomready.com, you can subscribe to getting a weekly email in your inbox. And you can also upgrade to our paid community where we do premium content for our paid subscribers. I'm going to be providing content on what it looks like to be a working mom, including, you'll learn in this episode, I exclusively pumped for a year. I'm really passionate about moms feeling like they are equipped with the tools and resources in order to do that if they wish. Anna, you're going to hear from her all about being a medical mom, Hannah on being a mindset mom as a therapist, and then Meredith of being a wellness mom as a licensed nutritionist. So anyway, head on over to getmomready.com, subscribe to our community. You can also join the chat there. Cannot wait to get to know you, as well as on Instagram, by the way, at getmomready. And we'll see you over there. And without further ado, we're jumping into my story today on Get Mom Ready. I have a surprise for you guys that I haven't told you yet. We actually do have a sponsor for our Get Mom Ready podcast.
Stop.
Yep. It
So proud of
is
you, girl.
PDPed.com.
Oh, that's right.
So exciting. Yes.
Wait, PDPed, PEDIPED.com. And Hannah has experienced these firsthand.
Shoes. I have one in the bottom of my car.
That's awesome.
Shoe. Only one
Same.
shoe made it to Connecticut.
Just one.
Cool.
That's
Yep.
hilarious.
That
Right.
sounds like mom life.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are awesome shoes for kids, babies, toddlers, and kids. They were the company was founded by a mom who was looking for better pediatric support or pediatric podiatry support.
Yeah.
All the medical P words for kids.
Yeah. So many people.
For her kiddos. And so she created PediPed. And so for any listeners who would like to try it, you can get 20% off your first order with promo code MOMREADY.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
amazing.
So we're very thankful and excited to have PediPed as our sponsor.
That is very exciting,
it.
honestly.
Well,
Mad
we are
props.
all in different places. So, Anna and I are both in Houston. Hannah is in the beautiful woods. If you're just listening to this and you're not watching it, Hannah has trees in her background, and I want to go there, Hannah. Tell us where you are.
We are in Connecticut, in New Hartford, Connecticut, and it's beautiful. It's breezy at night. It's hot during the day. Some days it's cold. Some days it's yeah.
I mean, you're wearing a sweater, so
That's
that's
true.
I know. It's like a short sweater.
okay.
but
Okay. Still, yeah.
You couldn't wear that in Houston. You could
No.
not wear that in Houston without sweating straight through it within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and also where you are, Meredith, you're in South Carolina. Is it hot?
Same.
I mean, it's humid.
It's Columbia is called famously hot. Like, it is humid and hot and awful. It's inappropriate weather is what it is, but it's very similar to Houston. Honestly, it's very comparable to Houston. So solidarity, my sisters.
That's right. That's right. Oh my goodness. Well, we are so glad that you are listening, that you're or watching, listening or watching. This is our first episode of Get Mom Ready.
It sure is.
And I feel overwhelmed and almost I don't get speechless much. You guys all know that about me. But I kind of feel speechless a little bit because when I see on the screen these smiling, beautiful faces across from me who just believed enough in this crazy idea to say yes, which is crazy because you all have very busy schedules and lots of, babies and things to do, but you said yes to this. So, in today's episode is our first one. First of all, we're figuring this out together. So, if you, I always, I need to stop saying if because it's like, no, if you are listening to this,
Yeah.
not if you're listening to this, you are listening to this.
Yeah.
You are listening to this because you're probably either just nice enough to or like us enough to listen and support us, or you're interested in what it looks like to stay grounded as a mom while you're raising your kids. And that's what all four of us are interested in as well. So, but we don't have this figured out. We're not like professional podcasters. That's kind of my dream. I say that I want to be Jimmy Fallon.
Same. I'm
yeah.
going with you.
Yes, come on over. Which, by the way, do you guys have Jimmy Fallon's Everything is Mama and Everything is Dada books?
No,
Yes.
No.
I think we
Hey.
have that everything is data. I think we need the mama one.
Okay, well, Anna, we should look at doing either adding, like for Get Mom Ready, doing like an Amazon list that people can, so when we
Yeah.
talk about stuff we love, we can put it there.
That's so fun. Yeah.
But they're so cute. It's Everything is Mama and Everything is Dada, written by Jimmy Fallon, and they're really simple but really cute. So, anywho, all that to say, we're not professional podcasters, but we are 4 different moms and 4 different phases of motherhood. But we have one mission that unites us, which is what I already said, help you stay grounded while you're raising kiddos.
Yeah.
So, ladies, for today, I thought that we could do a very brief introduction with all of us, and then I could kind of share my journey to motherhood and kind of why I was passionate about starting this thing, kind of what it came from as conversations with me and Hannah and how it evolved from there. And then in the next 3 episodes, we would do a similar thing with each of you. So we're going to do a deep dive with each of us so that our listeners and audience can get to know us and then invite all of you who are listening or watching to subscribe to us at getmomready.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. And at getmomready.com, there's a discussion board where we would love to hear from you, like what topics should we talk about? So that's naturally going to come up in our conversations, but we would love to hear from you what we should talk about. So you can just go to that discussion board, post thoughts, feedback, questions, all the things. So how does that sound, you guys?
Here for
Sounds
it.
fabulous.
Okay. Well, I'll go last since I'm going to kind of be the one to talk the most through telling my story on this. So Meredith, can I put you on this spot? And
You
then
may.
Hannah on deck and then Anna before we go over to me.
What would be helpful for me to share? Obviously, like where I am, I have a kid, blah, 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 but anything specific that I need to add?
I would love to hear why you said yes to this.
Okay. Okay. I'm Meredith.
And
Yeah.
I want to hear what you hope a listener would hear, whether it's one mom that you want to reach or a type of mom or a group of moms. I want to hear who you're hoping gets something out of this and what that thing is.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I'm Meredith. I live in South Carolina. We'll be in Hawaii though for the next couple of months, so that's very fun. So with my if there's just a little extra lilt in my voice, it's because I'm in Hawaii. Okay. So I needed everyone to know that's in my future and I cannot wait. So I have a beautiful son. He's 5 months old, my Ethan boy, and I'm an old mom. I became a mom basically when I was 38. We'll get to all that later, but there's that. I'm a social worker. I really deeply care about the human experience. I've really learned a lot in the last few years from some really important people about just holding space for the human experience. And I think motherhood is such a it's a universal, but very specific and unique journey. It's like we're all special unicorns, yet also having this universal experience. And so I'm very interested to be tapped into that kind of conversation and share experience, strength, and hope, hear from others, learn from others. And I deeply care about principled living, and that is something that's been infused into me from therapy, honestly, and from group therapy specifically. And so I think when I think about who is listening and what I want that mom to glean, it's like you have a self and your sense of self matters so deeply. I don't have poignant words for it other than you matter. Your spirit within you matters. And like, how can we support that thread of yours to continue, even though there are going to be new and challenging demands asked of you in motherhood? And don't I know it? I'm only 5 months in. So, okay, that's what I got.
I love it. So good. And did you say you have a master's in social work?
You said it. I have a master's in
Okay.
social work.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if you said that yet.
It's like
Yeah, I think that's-
therapy. I'm like therapy. I'm like therapy adjacent. Hannah is like, she'll get to like the difference. I'm not licensed because I just didn't want to go the micro route. I'm more of a macro thinker. So I stayed in the coaching lane. So I coach, but Lord knows I've done enough therapy that it's all therapy, honestly.
But your master's in social work gives you one, I mean, you've done the work to you've put in the work and have the expertise and credibility that like Anna and I don't have what you and Hannah have in that area. We're like, what do they call that? Like the school of hard knocks?
Sure.
Y'all have that too, but with education to
For
back
sure,
it up.
some hard knock school. Yeah, we got some school of hard knocks happening. Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, Hannah, share a little
Hi.
bit about you. Yeah.
Sure. A little bit about me. Oh, okay. So we just talked about social work, but I am a licensed clinical social worker, so practicing therapist in Houston, Texas. How did I get here? Is kind of
What
my
a
thought.
simple question.
Yeah, exactly.
But not at all. It's not. Yeah.
Right. So I think how I got to my specialty in working with mothers and postpartum and mothers with young children, I started working with young children out of school, and I did that for years. And what I just learned over the years is that it felt so much more impactful to give the parents the tools to help the kids. And then because I wanted them, they would only see me an hour a week. And I wanted the parents to kind of have this so that they wouldn't need me anymore. And the parents could be the support to the children. And then after having my first daughter, I just realized how much support mothers need. And I wanted to be a therapist for mothers. I wanted to support women through that transition of having babies and raising them. I think that question that Anna said and that Meredith touched on, my hope for the listeners here is that we would be able to support them in becoming and being the mom that they want to be, regardless of the world. I think the world puts so many demands on how you think you can parent. And I think we all have intuition and nudges about how we want to be a mother in this world. And I think we sometimes allow the world to dictate how we parent. And I just want to get rid of that. I want moms to be able to say, this is what I want to do with my family. This is what I want to do with my kids. This is what I want to do with myself. And I want to push all of that noise out. So that's my hope for this space.
So cool. And then you have 2 other kiddos. You talked about your oldest daughter.
I do. Oh, yes. My oldest is my introduction into motherhood. I have 3 girls. Yes. So I'm a mom of 3, which I always wanted. So
At what ages?
8, 6, not tomorrow, but the next day, and then 9 months.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that is the exact. No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
2
I thought it was
years,
the
maybe
same. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
2 6 years. I got the math wrong. Either way.
So it's 2 and 5 years. But yeah, it's wonderful and chaotic.
Well, my husband has a thing where he always, for a kid's birthday, he always tells the mom happy birthday because the mom's the one who remembers it and went
Yes.
through it all.
Yes.
So happy almost birthday to you.
Yes. That's so good. That's awesome. All right, Anna. So we're transitioning from Hannah. I feel like I have to do like the hard H when I'm talking about Hannah and Anna. Tell us a little about you. And for those of you who are only listening, you should totally go to YouTube or watch this. I guess you can now really watch inside of pretty much every podcast app too, which is interesting. But Anna has her cat, Peaches, Mr. Peaches at that in her lap, who
Mascot.
often pops up every now and then and is a part of our show. So there you go.
He is. He's the trusty coworker. But yes, I'm Anna. And if you listen at all you'll be able to distinguish between Hannah and I because she has a lot of professional experience and I don't. So it'll become very clear. But I am Hannah, as I said, and Holly approached me with this idea months and months ago. And it's just been this idea that's been in the making. And the idea of getting to talk to and with other moms about their experiences and the differences that we all have, and yet we all have one heart to help our children become the best that they can be while holding on to ourselves and our sanity is just, there's no better mission. So excited to be here. I have one 3-year-old daughter named Emmy. My take on parenting is a little bit unique because she actually was born with congenital heart disease. And so we have spent probably 6 months living in hospitals through 7 different surgeries and preparing for the next and hopefully the last one for a while. But that's changed my outlook on a lot of things that have to do with parenting. I am a very type A person and parent, but going through some of the medical things that we have with her has taught me that a lot of the small stuff just doesn't matter and that tomorrow truly isn't promised. And so it helps me to prioritize the things that I want to say no to and yes to based on this very big perspective of, is tomorrow really going to happen? And so I am navigating through that and figuring out what discipline looks like and figuring out what fun versus too much fun looks like. But so, yeah, I'm just really excited to get to talk with you all and navigate that continuing process together.
Well, and you guys are going to get to hear from Anna throughout our time together. She is literally, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, the most positive person I've ever met in my whole life. I do not think I could do and survive what Anna has survived as a mom. Like, seriously, I tell her that all the time. Like, my daughter gets a cold and I am melting on the floor. And Anna, as she said, has spent months and months in hospital, so, seeing her daughter in really difficult states. And I really Anna is the first to always wonder if her voice matters in the room. And I specifically wanted her voice as a part of this conversation because I know that, well, first of all, her journey in motherhood, even before I became a mom, was such a blessing to me, watching her navigate that. And then secondly, I know there's moms who are listening who are in a similar spot or might be in a similar spot that Anna has walked through. And so we can all learn from her. So Anna, your voice matters. You're here for a reason. All have things to learn from you, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, I'll go kind of quickly and why I really wanted to partner with each of you in this. So this kind of started because Hannah and I have known each other for, I don't even know, Hannah, over 10 years? Or
Yeah.
yeah. And I think we've talked about doing a podcast probably like a dozen times at some point in those last 10 years. Lots of different ideas. And just Hannah is that friend and mom in our friend group who everyone is just always seeking her advice. Like, she's that person that we're all just going to. And so, and it was because we went to the same church at the time. There was a book club that I heard about, and I just kind of forced myself upon them and was I kind of invited myself to the Brene Brown book club. And now that was maybe 6 or 7 of us. And now there's 4 of us kind of left in Houston. It's since people have moved away and et cetera. But that friendship is such a gift to my life. And Hannah and I started brainstorming about this a few months ago. And then fast forward to me kind of relaunching my business, The Ready Network, which this show is a production of The Ready Network. And then I kind of recruited Hannah and Meredith, who I'll share a little bit more about in a second. And as I was looking at this dynamic on the screen of Anna and Meredith and Hannah all related to my business, I was like, wait a second. I'm curious if Hannah would be okay of me recruiting Meredith and Anna to kind of be a part of this and create a whole platform around supporting moms. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So, and then Anna works alongside me at the Ready Network. She is literally the other half of my brain. I have a zillion ideas and like to move 1,000,000 miles a minute. And Anna likes to move 1,000,000 miles a minute too, but she actually gets all the stuff done. Nothing would ever happen if it wasn't for Anna. But this is our 3rd job to do together. but our first where we are solely in charge, which is kind of terrifying, but also very exciting.
A
So
little bit of both.
yeah, a little bit of both. And then Meredith, this is kind of a fun one. I actually knew Meredith's sister. She and I both went to college at different
Wild.
schools, but met through a church up in New York City. But then separately, years later, a different mutual friend connected us because Meredith was a nutrition. Well, I mean, you still are a
I
nutrition,
am a nutritionist, but yeah.
but at the time was really focusing her coaching in on that. And so I was actually a client of Meredith and her coaching and got to be the recipient of her incredible gift of coaching.
I'm-
And then fast forward, and now all Meredith, Hannah, and Anna are certified Ready coaches under the Ready Network. So lots of different connections here, but just wanted to give everybody that background.
Yeah.
And I know today's episode is probably going to be the longest because it's just lots of setup and context. But we're going to have so much fun together. This is going to be fun. And it's going to be raw. Like there's going to be babies crying sometimes on these recordings. There's going to be
Can
like
confirm.
people, yeah, maybe like in the car sometimes or having to run out and get, groceries that are delivered to the door or whatever it might be. But we're here for it. So,
Yeah.
okay. With that, thought I would kind of start and share a little bit of my story into motherhood and why I'm wanting to do Get Mom Ready. And then I was thinking you guys could totally like interrupt me as you have questions. The last thing, like it would be super boring for me to just talk for like 30 minutes.
So we're going to pretend we're like around a table with coffee or a glass of wine or something, and we're listening and we're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Ask all the questions, anything and everything. Okay, so I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. Went to college in New
I
York.
did not know that.
Really?
Raised in Nashville. I had no idea. Wow. You're a Tennessee girly. This is
Tennessee.
new information. Okay. Sorry. Keep going. Wow.
That's great. I know it's gonna be fun to see like what you guys pick up on that, like maybe. You don't know.
Whoa.
Yep. And then so left Nashville to go to a really small college that unfortunately we just got notified a few days ago that it is officially closed down. So it's called the King's College. I know. It was a really small school. I studied business there and it was, super unique experience to go to a college of like 300 students in the middle of like literally our classes were in the Empire State Building.
What? That's so cool.
It was wild. But that was great for me because of course it was challenging. I do love a challenge. But graduated from there, moved to Dallas for like my first big girl job, which was selling radio advertising. It was a radio network that had stations all across the country. So it was cold calling. I think my title was junior.
Yeah,
account
Meredith looks
executive.
like she wants in on that.
I-
I'm so thrilled.
I can't, that part of sales, no, thank you. So
Yeah.
I bow down. I respect it. Keep going.
Well, I
Wow.
felt the same way because I was only there for a year. And somebody I had cold called who kept like talking to me, so I was like, oh, they're going to buy my advertising. Well, instead, he offered me a job to move to Houston and join a small company that was a staffing, well, it still exists, but it's staffing and executive search. And joined that company. It was there for 8.5 years. So you'll hear in my story, I usually center my stories around work because that is a pattern that you will notice in me. I love work.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, I find a lot of my purpose and identity in work, and that has been really unhealthy in certain seasons. And then on the flip side, it also gives me the guts to like be an entrepreneur and try crazy stuff like this. And so, yeah, there's like the positive and negative side of that. But was there for 8.5 years. There, I really talk about identity. I mean, really put a lot of my identity in that job and learned through that it's not healthy to put your identity in something that is solely work because that's just one part of our life and who we are. And also something that you don't own. That was another. I was not the owner of that, but I loved the team, loved the work we were doing and the mission that we were on there. Learned a ton. I mean, really spent like my whole 20s and into my early 30s there. And then COVID happened. And like so many of us, well, two things happened for me. One, I always I thought like my husband and I were like, you know what? We would love to have a kid when I'm 30. So that was my plan. And I had even saved up for like maternity leave. We didn't have a really good maternity leave policy, but we were able to like bank up on PTO. So I had a bunch of PTO saved up. I was going to get pregnant when I was 30 and it was going to be great. And so we did. So I got pregnant in December of 2019. That was super exciting. It was like right before I had turned 30. My birthday is in December. So I think we found out we were pregnant. We turned 30 like a couple weeks later. And And then we went in for our first appointment, which I think was at like 9 weeks. We got a great report. We heard the heartbeat. Great report. It was super exciting. But I always kind of had this feeling in my gut for some reason that I would struggle with becoming a mom. And I didn't really know. I never said it to anybody, but I just kind of felt that because I honestly feel like I've had a very relatively easy life. Now, the flip side of that is I also work really hard and I love overcoming challenges. So I think both of those things are true, that I have, you know, a very like privileged and have not had to have like very many like external difficulties that I've faced, I would say, up until that point. And so that was always like kind of in the back of my head. So we get that good report and that was like a big relief. I think Elliot, my husband, and I were like, okay, we can start like dreaming about what this would look like. So of course we naturally start talking about like, what do we want the nursery to look like and all the things. And then I got a call on a Sunday from my doctor, which is like never good. And I answered the phone and she's like, hey, your blood work came back and I don't know how I don't know how we heard the heartbeat because your progesterone is the lowest I've ever seen carrying a baby. So she immediately like called in progesterone and was like, come back tomorrow on Monday. And so we did another ultrasound and unfortunately there was not a heartbeat. And so that was like the hardest time of my life up until that point. Just, yeah, I mean, that was just utterly heartbreaking to, feel like, I think on multiple levels, it was like my plan, and I love, you guys know me. I love a plan. You'll get to know this, listeners, if you don't know me. I love a plan. So it was like, wait a second, my plan is not going as I want it to. And then also just the loss of life and that, you can talk about that, like removed from going through this, but it really hits in a different way when you lose a baby. Yeah, like I remember a friend had called and this was maybe like 2 years before I had my miscarriage. And she was like crying on the phone and was stressed about something. And then she just like offhandedly was like, then we had a miscarriage a couple months ago. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then we hung up the phone and I never thought about her. Like, I just like, anybody again. She was one of the first people I thought of because I was like, she was like, I didn't even know what she was going through in that moment. You just really don't until you go through it. So anyway, that was really tough. And then it took us 5 years to get pregnant again. And part of our story, I'm really open about this, especially to other moms. I've never been on birth control. That was just something that I never wanted to do. And so we did like natural family planning for our ways of not getting pregnant. But then after we had the miscarriage, we were like, let's just let whatever happens because we would love to have a baby. So anyway, it took us 5 years to get pregnant again. And we did, but that was January of 2020. Sorry, that's why I started saying all that. Because that was January of 2020. And then the world shut down 2 months later or 3 months later, whatever it was. I was also filling in for a colleague who was on maternity leave at the time at work. So yeah, 2020 was just terrible for all of us. And then that was rough for me and Elliot. So anyway, I went through a coaching group later that year because work was also getting really difficult for me at the time. I was super frustrated. There was just misalignment and, all the things in my life in 2020. So went through a coaching group, which led me to create my business plan for starting my own business. But I ended up joining a client full time. So I kind of put my business on pause to join this software company, this startup. Oh, and that company was where Anna and I first started working together, the one where I was getting frustrated. So that's how Anna and I started working together like a month before COVID. And then we lived a week before COVID.
Wow.
So we had 1 week in the office together and then we were like, well, see you on Zoom. And then we lived on Zoom together for like 12 hours every day for the next, what was it, like 7 months, Anna, or 6 months?
Yeah, like through the summer.
That is a friendship forged in some fire.
100%.
I mean, wow.
I don't think we ever would be where we are now without that.
For sure.
Nope. Yeah, that was crazy. So, okay. So then I joined this like crazy startup software company. I wanted to learn investor-backed startup. I wanted to be challenged by people that would help me be better in business. And all of that was true. I was there for 4 years, started as an SVP, grew to be C-suite on the executive team there. There's a lot we could talk about there, but just to make this shorter, then got pregnant again in 2023. 3
Mhm.
in May. Took a pregnancy test on like a Tuesday night. And then Wednesday morning, we were living in half our house because the other half was being renovated. And we were supposed to leave for the airport in 3 hours to go to a marriage retreat. And I started bleeding. I think I took another pregnancy test and it was kind of faint and I couldn't tell at that point.
Yeah.
So called the doctor and the nurse. And of course, they're like, we can't tell until you get blood work done and blah, 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 blah. So then we're like, do we go on this marriage retreat? Do we not? But I called that friend. Do you remember that friend that I felt like I was a terrible friend to? Because I didn't like ever follow up with her after she told me she had a miscarriage. So I called her and was like, what do we do? Like, she was like, you should absolutely go. She kind of walked me through like what her experience was. I go, because with my first miscarriage, I had a DNC. So
Okay.
that's where they like go and remove the baby. And that was, I'm really glad we did that because we were able to find out that the baby had triploidy, which it basically means she got 2 strands of DNA from me and 1 from Elliot. So it's just coincidental. It's not hereditary. It's just this like crazy fluke thing. The likelihood of it happening again is super rare and that it's fatal. Like you'll never like
Sure.
a baby would never like very, very rare that it would go to term.
Wow.
Interesting.
So it was encouraging in the sense that it was like,
Sure.
okay, there's no data that would say this is like something we should be concerned about, like that we, So anyway, but the second time, it was so early. It was technically a chemical pregnancy is what they call it. So it was probably like at 4 weeks. And so that one I, passed naturally. And so she was able to walk me through like what my experience with that might be. And then she was like, you need to be around people who, faith is really important to Elliot and me. And so that can help support us in that way. And that was really hard, of course. I just remember we went to this hotel because we were going a day early to spend the night before because it was in the middle of nowhere, Alabama or Georgia. I don't know. So we flew into Florida and stayed at this hotel on the beach. I just remember like watching the sunrise in a really difficult moment, but being reminded that for me personally and my outlook is just that, God is with us through it all and there's strength we can find even when we don't know where it's going to come from. So, so then we started, like I did a preliminary round of blood work after that to start figuring out, okay, is there a deeper rooted thing here? And then we got pregnant with our now daughter literally a month after that. Now she is 16. Well, 2 days from now, she will be 16 months old and her name is Iris. And we are in the throes of toddlerhood and having so much fun and very tired. And, so and then I actually was let go of my job in February at the software startup. And I was super sad about it for about 48 hours. And then I was like, you know what? This is probably the best thing that could ever happen to me because it's time for me to go do the Ready Network full time. So
there you go.
And then Anna joined me at that second company. So we were together at the first company.
Yep.
She joined the second company. And then now she's joined me at the Ready Network. So this is our third kind of venture together. And,
I'm a stalker.
No, Holly
Okay.
just knows a good thing. She's like, girl, you're coming with. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm not doing anything without you. So let's go, Sister Sue.
Well, that's how I feel. I'm like, I'm not doing anything without you. So, or
Good
whatever
egg.
you are.
Y'all are good egg. Holly, were you, excuse me, during the several years it took to get pregnant, are you also then faced with like, I don't know if this is too personal, so cut it out if it is.
No, it's
Like
I'm
negative pregnancy tests, and you're like, God, is this going to happen? Like what was that part of the journey like for you in between miscarriages and then Iris?
Yeah. So I think that my way of coping with, so first of all, I don't like to feel sad, like
Same,
but in
girl.
a way that's like not good in the sense that like
Sure.
my therapist works with me a lot on like sadness is not a bad thing. Hannah's like nodding her head, like yes.
Yeah. Put it right next to your computer.
Yes. Yes.
Sticky note.
I do not like to be in sadness and I will avoid it. And I get very frustrated by being around it,
Yes.
which is a growth opportunity for me. So I think my way of like trying to avoid feeling sad was honestly to just like not really think about it. So it was like, I feel like I kind of like disassociate. It was like, well, and I was 30. So I kind of felt like it's okay. Like we've got time. And then I feel like yeah, so it was like 2023. So then I feel like it was like right as, yeah, when we had that second one, that was when I kind of started to feel a little bit of like, mm, I don't know if anxiety is the right word, or like probably urgency is a better word of like, okay, I'm now 33. Anyway, so I was like, oh man, like I'm getting, and then I felt like the first time I was like, I have some time. And then the second one, it was like, okay, if this is a thing, like I'm feeling urgency around
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah. Like we
so,
got to figure this out quickly because time's ticking kind of vibes.
yes. And then the other thing is my husband is very much more, has a more healthy relationship with the feeling of sadness than I do.
Mm.
That's why I say that, because my therapist reminds me that I can learn a lot from him with his relationship with sadness. And for me, the most heartbreaking thing about those two miscarriages was watching him journey through that. Because I think for me, and I don't know if other moms feel like this, but it's such a physical experience that I think there's like a grieving process that our bodies, like, I don't know what I'm saying, but like because my
There's a
body
connection.
went through it, it's like,
You felt it. Like you
Yeah.
felt all the physicality of it. And for someone else, it just feels so much more abstract. And
Right.
And so like for Elliot, it was all mental. It's like he's
Yeah.
thinking about what his relationship with this potential child is going to be, and like,
Yes.
visions of what he wants that to look like. And then it's like not there anymore. But for me, I think because I physically went through it, that helped me with, and I'm also very physical, like I'm an Enneagram 8. I'm like in that gut triad. So I feel things in my body more than my brain, I think.
Sure.
So that was, yeah, so anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, Meredith, but
Yeah. It all belongs.
yeah.
And then Iris, I'm thinking about a rainbow. Like, what was the inspiration for her
Oh,
name?
yes. Okay. So thank you for asking. Have I told you this story, or are you just genuinely asking?
No,
me?
I literally have no. Yeah, I'm not setting you up. I literally have no idea.
Okay. So I'd always loved the name Iris. It's the Tennessee state flower. It is, we were married in an iris garden in Nashville, where I always wanted to get married. So like that was kind of like in my head of like, even through our first two miscarriages of like, oh, maybe we could name, if it's a girl, name her Iris. And then one day when we got pregnant with Iris, I was like at a red light and I was thinking about names, and I was like, you know what? I should probably look like, what does Iris mean besides the flower or like the iris of your eye? And I Googled it, and Iris was the Greek goddess of the rainbow, which I did not know. And I was like, I took a screenshot and texted to Elliot, and I was like, unless you have any crazy strong reason why her name should not be Iris, her name is going to be Iris.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
so
you
her
look
name
at
is
that.
special.
so amazing.
You look at a story like that, or kind of like a sign like that, and it's like that was the promise that you always had, was like, this little rainbow will be here.
Yeah.
But you can't know that when you're going through it. And it's just, I just love when life works like that, and it gives you the answers, even if it's years after you were hoping to get them. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
I love her
When
name.
did you and Elliot get married?
We were 24 and 25, both about to turn 25, 26. So it was
Okay.
2013. So we've been married for 12 years this fall. So we were married for a little over 10 years when we had Iris, which, even though it wasn't our plan, well, we knew we wanted to be married for like a chunk of time, but in our heads, I think it was like more like the 5-year mark.
Right.
I'm really grateful for it, because we can talk about this for days. I'm sure this will come up in many episodes of how marriage changes as you become a mom or you have kids. Even though we've definitely had to realign expectations as we are both evolving as humans in motherhood and fatherhood, I'm so grateful we were able to have a 10-year foundation of being a team. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, let me say it this way. I have found that to be true for me as well. Like, we were married for 16 years by the time we had Ethan, and that's a long time. And marriage changes no matter what, no matter if you have kids or not. Like, there's just different phases and seasons of marriage. And for sure, for us, we needed, I know it sounds crazy, but like we needed all 16 years. I feel that's true. Scott may agree or disagree, but I'm like, It took what it took to get there, but I'm with you. There was something for us specifically about that solid foundation that I can just relate to you, Holly, about like, wow, that ended up being real important.
Yeah. Yes.
So important. Okay,
Oh.
I have a question. What do you feel like has been your biggest surprise in becoming a mother or motherhood or parenting? Like whether between you and Elliot or maybe just surprise with motherhood.
The one that comes to mind that I feel like I think about a lot right now is I am not naturally a nurturing person. And so I went into motherhood thinking that I would just tolerate the baby phase. Like I knew, like I was like lowering my expectations that the first year I was not going to love, and that I was really looking forward to the toddler stage because I love clearly, I love to talk. I love to interact. I love to move. Like I don't sit still very well. I get energy from like going on walks and that kind of stuff. So
Movement, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to love toddlerhood because like she'll be able to interact and everything. It's actually been the opposite. So I mean, of course, it was so hard. Like, and that's another thing I wanted moms to hear. So breastfeeding did not work for me. I basically did not know it and was starving Iris for the first 2 weeks of her life. And it was super
Sweet mama.
traumatic.
We'll talk about that. Like talk
Okay.
about how you figured that out, because a lot of moms go through that and they don't
Yeah.
know.
So I went into it thinking, I wanted to hold it open-handedly because I'd seen a lot of friends be very disappointed when breastfeeding didn't work out. And you guys know I don't like to feel sad. So I was like trying to prepare myself mentally to hold it open-handedly, but I really did want to breastfeed. So at the hospital, they were like, great, she's latching, everything looks good. Well, I've never done this before. How am I supposed to know
Sure.
what it feels like or if she's actually getting milk? So anyway, we go to her first pediatrician appointment and I think at that point she had lost 12% of her body weight, which
Just a
wasn't,
little bit over. Yeah.
and that's what the pediatrician was like, we really don't want to see more than 10, but we're not super concerned. Just like make sure that and she was super sleepy. She was sleeping for like sometimes there were a couple days where she was sleeping for like 6 hours during the day. And everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky. But I knew something was wrong. Like I was like, I don't know a lot, but my intuition is telling me that like something's not right. So anyway, that first appointment, she was like, we're not overly concerned, but just make sure every 3 hours, even if you have to wake her up, you're feeding her. I was like, absolutely. So I'm latching her, thinking I'm breastfeeding her. Well, then a couple days later, we went in again and she had lost 17% of her body weight. And so at that point, they were like, concerned. So went to see a lactation consultant who was also a pediatrician, which was great. And then my hormones were so wild. I was just like crying all the time. And we like go to her and she said, I can smell on her breath that like whatever, it's some chemical that our bodies use when we're burning fat for energy.
Ketones.
She could smell that. And I just like lost it. Like I was like, I am starving my baby. Right. So she like worked with us on this thing called SNS, which is like where you like put a tube into a little tiny formula bottle and then you like stick the tube on your boob and then you latch the baby. And it's supposed to like help. It was supposed to help Iris like understand like, oh, when I suck, I get, substance. And so we did that for 2 nights, or it might have been 3 nights. And Elliot and I were both just like zombies. And I was like, all right, I can't have both of us being zombies. Like I cannot have you being a wreck too. And I have to go back to work at 3 months anyway. So I told the lactation consultant, I was like, I think it was the last night she just wasn't sucking and we were exhausted. And so I was
It'll
like,
drive you crazy.
yeah, I was like, get the bottle. And so we put the formula in a bottle and she took it
100%.
immediately. And I was like, this is it. We're doing it.
That's
Like,
right.
I know exactly how much she's getting.
Yes.
I like will be able to put her on this schedule, like all the things. And so the lactation consultant was great because she was like, yeah, it sounds like that's what's best for you. Like we can absolutely. So let's focus on pumping. So I redirected my attention to pumping. So I was an exclusive pumper for the first year of Iris's life. And in the beginning, and we had to supplement with formula because I think I was only able to I think I maxed out at like 24 to 27 ounces and she was eating closer to 30.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to supplement pretty much the whole time, except for those last few months when her intake went down a little bit because she was eating food.
Right.
So anyway, I say all of that because I am very passionate about especially working moms, but any mom that wants to pump and like pumping on the go, I'm gonna like work on a course around this. Like I'm very passionate about moms feeling free to like, there is a way to still breastfeed, even if like, what do you call it? Physical breastfeeding or like whatever. It doesn't
It's
work like,
breastfeeding. Period. Yeah.
I was gonna say is that you still breastfed, right? Because
yes.
like you were pumping for that entire time. And it just looked different
Mhm.
as it went on. I mean, that was such hard work
Yes.
you did the entire time.
Yeah. It was, and I feel like I remember feeling like a superwoman. Like I went back to work.
Uh-huh.
I had my portable pumps on, walking through the airport with a blazer, pulling my suitcase. And I was like, I am living my dream. Like, this is, and that's not every mom's dream. And that's
Sure.
okay. For me,
Right.
like,
Yours
that
was
was my, like, living my like mom executive dream life.
Looking like Pamela Anderson
Yeah,
walking. And those portable
exactly.
pumps, I mean,
Are
Dolly, it's like
huge.
Dolly Parton status. Like if you look closely, you know what I mean? Like if you're in black, you can't really tell. But other than it's a situation, I'm
Yeah.
like mad prop, my girl, mad props.
I called them dollies. That's not the brand they were.
100%.
Yeah, the brand is actually called Olivia, which I highly recommend. Love them. But yeah, I called them, I'm putting my dollies on.
100%.
Yeah. Yes,
The
exactly.
sponsor, yeah.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, that's
But
amazing.
that ties into your question, Hannah, because like even though that first year was super hard because of things like exclusively pumping, et cetera, I really and Iris responded to a schedule really well. And again, like I love a plan. And so she was on a schedule. I knew exactly what to expect, the wake windows,
Awesome.
I mean, all the things. So for me personally, as someone who loves a plan, that worked really well for me. And then she hit 13 months, and 13 to 15 have been very hard for me. Like,
I'm so scared.
yeah, unpredictable. She comes home from daycare and some days is like this adorable, hilarious, cute little girl. And sometimes she is like a feral terror. And I am like, who are you? And can I take you back to daycare? And like, yeah. So yes, I will say I feel like it's gotten better in like this like 15 to 16 month. But she's been, and I know poor Hannah has been dealing with sickness over the last few weeks. So we're not supposed to talk about sickness, but yeah, she had an ear infection 2 weeks ago. Since then she had strep B the last week. So like, I'm like
mama.
partly like, maybe
she's vulnerable.
she's been better because her energy level's been lower.
Oh, that's hilarious. She's been taken out. That's
Yeah.
hysterical. Oh my God, that
And
is
they're
so funny.
snuggly when
Yes.
they're, you
Yes.
gotta,
You're like,
you
that's
gotta see
my
the silver
baby.
lining.
Yeah, that's
You
the
gotta see the
only
silver lining.
silver lining to
Yeah.
her being sick. Everything else about being sick is horrendous and
Awful.
terrible. But yeah.
No
So,
energy
Oh my God,
will
that is
take.
so funny.
yeah. So
That is
anyway,
really funny. Wow.
but yeah, okay. So that's my story. And then I will say, I'm going to wrap it up here with, I wanted to start Get Mom Ready because I feel like there is a myriad of content for moms relating to their baby. And I would not have gotten through the last 16 months without that. Like some of the courses and influencers that I follow and all of the, I'm so grateful for that. But for me, trying to figure out what does it look like to be a working mom, an executive mom, a entrepreneurial mom, like all of these other parts of my pieces of my identity and being a mom. And I don't see a lot, if any, really, like a hub of resources or content or community for those conversations. I have those conversations with women and moms in my life all of the time. I was like, man, what would it look like if I could help resource these conversations, and wanted to invite you three wonderful, smart, capable moms and women to be a part of that so that we can be a source of conversation when we're navigating things like last week I had happy hour with a friend who's like, she's been back to work for like a month. She's getting feedback from her boss that he's not really happy with the work that she's producing. She's trying to nurse while she's navigating everything we just talked about, and it's like,
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong, and there's no roadmap, and
Yeah.
it's different for all of us. And so just to be a place where we are all in different stages
Yeah.
and different philosophies and priorities and dreams and visions, and but all of that is welcome, and we can just be a source of those conversations is my hope for this.
Can I name 2 things that I just heard?
Yes, please.
I heard that integration is important to you, like, that we as women, like, it is a value of yours to integrate all parts of us, and then motherhood is a part, it's an incredibly important part, and the other parts of us, we still want to vote online and keep online. Is that a fair assessment?
100% integration I feel like I'm at my best when my life is integrated. Like I
Yeah. Yeah.
love when work and friends and church and social life and
Yeah.
like I love when all of that comes together.
Mhm, mhm. The other thing that this is not as directly tied to what you were saying, but a sense I got, and maybe this is just something that I need, so I'll just name it because I need this, but one thing a thought that came to my mind as you were talking, Holly, is this idea of solidarity over sympathy. Because I personally hate sympathy.
Ooh.
I hate I'm sorry's. I hate overly empathetic looks like,
Me
oh, I'm so sorry. I want to hurl something at a wall when someone looks at me that way. It's not their fault. They're just trying to respond empathically. Like, that's not on them. I get it. I got issues. We'll get into those later. But I hate the phrase, I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't need it. But I remember, I'll never forget talking to a dear friend about something traumatic and kind of filling her in. And this was like in the early parts of our friendship, which is different for me because it takes me a while to trust people. I'm very guarded. I'm very open socially, but guarded when it comes to like personal stuff. And so, but I just sense that I could trust her. And she has lived some life as well. She's been through trauma and loss and all the things. And I remember as I'm sharing this stuff, anybody else would have been looking at me like, oh, you poor thing, and like, I'm so sorry. She did not say that. It was almost like, yeah, I see you. And the show must go she did not dismiss anything, but she held space, was not rattled by it, but was not overly syrupy, which again, my personality can't handle. Some people need that. I do not. And it's just like, oh, she gets it. She's seen some life. So this is landing with her. It's not that she doesn't know what to do with my emotions. So there was this solidarity over sympathy. And so even as you're talking,
Love
like
that.
creating this communal space, it's not that we're like, I'm so sorry, that's hard. And that sentiment can always be there. Of course, we feel with and for each other. And to me, I think the power that could be unlocked here is this idea of just solidarity, wherever that lands with any of us. Even if I'm not an exclusively pumping mom, I'm like, damn girl, solidarity. I see you walking through the airport with your portable pumps, like doing the thing and showing up for yourself. You know what I mean? So anyway,
That's awesome. I
thanks for
love
creating
that,
a
Mary.
space.
Well, thank you. And Hannah, maybe you can do a whole episode for us on sympathy versus empathy because I learned that from Hannah. Hannah taught empathy school, and I went and learned from Hannah all about empathy. So it's so good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing too. And it doesn't like you don't get stuck in it. I think sometimes like when there's like pity or there's sympathy, it's like one, you're like, oh no, is this person afraid of my feelings? Or it's like they don't know what to do with it. And it's, oh, you poor thing. Or they want to like distance themselves, right? Like they want to be like, you and I are different because you're struggling and I'm fine. And I don't want to come into your like struggly space. I want to stay on my like happy over here. But yeah, I think sometimes it can just be like you need a cheerleader. Like you need someone to be like, yeah, this sucks. And you still got to go on. Because I think about that all the time with our 4-letter word of sickness. I was just thinking like, this is hard and like, too bad. Like,
It's showbiz, babe.
yeah, like you still have 3 kids that you got to take care of, and like you don't get a break, and you don't get your self-care time. You don't get all this. You just gotta wake up if they wake up, and you gotta take care of them.
So true. So true.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right. Well, before we wrap up, want to give another thank you to PDPed, who is our sponsor of this episode and of our podcast in general. So if you want to check it out, pdped.com, you can find it at getmomready.com or in the show notes, click on it. And if you use the code MOMREADY, get 20% off of your first order. And then go to getmomready.com and engage with us in the discussion board. And we would love to hear from you. What are your biggest challenges right now as a mom or any light bulb moments from today's conversation?
Or things that maybe moms aren't talking about that you wish they would. I think that would be really well. Like, hey, can we talk about blank thing? Like, probably. Let's talk about it,
Absolutely. Hashtag let's talk about it.
That's right. That's right.
Love it.
Thanks for listening today on Get Mom Ready. I told you it was going to get quite vulnerable. So invite you to go over to getmomready.com, join our community. And if you're a paid member, then you'll get to join into our chat. I want to hear your thoughts all about today and have tons of resources all about what it looks like to be a working mom, a medical mom, a wellness mom, and a mindset mom. So head on over there to getmomready.com. Also want to say thank you again to our sponsor, PDPed. You can get 20% off your first order using code MOMREADY at pdped.com. All of that you can find in the show notes as well. And then want to encourage you to join us over on Instagram at GetMomReady, where we're posting regularly all about what we're learning throughout every day of being a mom that's ready for what's now and what's next. We'll see you next time here at Get Mom Ready.